On our wedding day, my bride announced, "I choose your brother instead." I replied, "Excellent choice." Then I revealed his gambling debts, legal charges, to her conservative parents. They dragged her from the altar while she screamed about second chances. I'm 32, male, the OP, and I'm still trying to process everything, but writing it down feels necessary, methodical. It helps quiet the ringing in my ears. Yesterday I was supposed to get married. The venue was perfect, a restored barn with fairy lights woven into the rafters. My fiancée, Rachel, 29, my SO of 4 years, looked radiant. I thought we were happy. I thought this was it. We stood at the altar. The officiant did his whole "speak now or forever hold your peace" bit. It's always a little dramatic, right? A little movie moment that never actually happens, except it did. Rachel, my Rachel, turned to face the 100 guests. Her hand was still in mine, but it was limp. Cold. "I can't do this," she said, her voice trembling but clear. She looked out, her eyes finding my brother, Patrick, 30, my best man, standing beside me. "I'm sorry, I love you, but I'm in love with someone else." A collective gasp rippled through the guests. My mom's face crumpled. My dad looked like he'd been struck. I just stood there, my heart a frozen lump in my chest. She looked at him. "I choose Patrick." The silence that followed was the loudest thing I've ever heard. Patrick, the absolute coward, just stared at his shoes. He couldn't even look at me. Then all eyes turned to me, expecting what? A scene? Shouting? Tears? I felt a strange calm settle over me, like the eye of a hurricane. The pain was there, a deep, shearing agony, but it was contained. This wasn't a tragedy unfolding, it was a problem being presented. I looked at Rachel, then I looked at Patrick. Then I turned to Rachel's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dennis. Very religious, very proud of their standing in their community. They believe in family, honor, and financial prudence above all else. They'd grilled me for months about my savings, my 401k, my 5-year plan. They'd only approved of me because I was stable. I gave them a small, tight smile. "Excellent choice, Rachel," I said, my voice steady. It didn't even waver. "He's all yours." Then I addressed her father directly. "Mr. Dennis, since we're sharing truths today, I feel it's only fair you have all the information about your new prospective son-in-law." The crowd leaned in. I didn't shout. I spoke with chilling clarity. "A few weeks ago, Patrick came to me for a significant loan, and it made me concerned. I looked into his situation. You should know that he is currently managing over $38,000 in online gambling debts. He also has 2 pending legal issues. One for public intoxication and disorderly conduct, and another is a small claims suit from a former landlord for $4,200 in damages. I have all the documentation to back this up, should you wish to see it." I let the facts hang in the air. I hadn't needed a prop. The truth was weapon enough. The explosion was instantaneous. Mr. Dennis's face went from pale to a deep apoplectic purple. Mrs. Dennis let out a sound like a wounded animal. Rachel started screaming, not at me, but at her father. "It's not like that. He's going to change. Everyone deserves a second chance." Mr. Dennis wasn't listening. He grabbed her arm, his knuckles white. "You have shamed us. You have shamed this family." He started physically pulling her, his own daughter, down the aisle and out of the barn. She was wailing, trying to wrench her arm free, her beautiful white dress dragging in the dirt. Patrick finally moved. He ran after them, shouting, "Sir, let her go. We can explain." I just stood there and watched, my best man and my bride disappearing in a cloud of familial rage and righteous fury. I turned to my parents. My mom was crying silently. My dad put a hand on my shoulder. "Son," he said, his voice thick with a mixture of pride and horror, "let's go home." I paid the vendors in full. I even told the caterer to serve the food to the guests who remained, mostly my friends and family, huddled together in shocked whispers. I couldn't eat. I'm now sitting in the house that was supposed to be our house. Her makeup is still on the vanity. His muddy Adidas sneakers are by the door from the last time he visited. The silence is deafening. I feel hollowed out, but clear. I didn't get hysterical. I just presented the facts. The consequences were the natural result of their own actions. This is the beginning of something, I know. They will not go quietly. But neither will I. Update. It's been a strange fortnight. The silence of the house has become a companion. I've packed all of Rachel's things, every last bobby pin and half-used bottle of moisturizer. I boxed them up neatly, labeled them. I'm not a monster, I'm just organized. The call started about 3 days after the event. First from Rachel. A barrage of texts and voicemails. They swung wildly from furious to pleading. You humiliated me. You ruined the most important day of my life. Followed by, baby, we can fix this. I made a mistake, a terrible, terrible mistake. It was the pressure. Patrick meant nothing. Then came Patrick. His messages were less emotional, more pathetic. Bro, you didn't have to do me like that in front of her parents? Seriously? You've ruined everything. I didn't respond to a single one, blocked their numbers. My peace was more valuable. The first real move came last Tuesday, an email from Rachel, the subject line, Our Things. The email was short and demanding. She informed me that she and Patrick would be coming by on Saturday to pick up their belongings. She attached a list. It was audacious. It included her personal items, which was fine, but it also listed half the furniture, the new 65-inch television we'd bought together, the premium espresso machine I'd received as a birthday gift from my parents, and, bafflingly, the good towels. She also demanded the $2,850 security deposit from the apartment we'd shared for 2 years before moving into this house, a property that is solely in my name. To H, I almost laughed. This is where the cold, clear part of my brain took over. I wasn't going to get into a screaming match over email. I was going to use the system. I replied. My email was polite and formal. Subject, Our Things. Rachel, your personal belongings have been packed and are available for collection. Please let me know what day and time you would prefer, and I will leave the boxes on the front porch for you to collect. To avoid any discomfort for all parties, I will not be present. Regarding the other items you listed, I have attached copies of the credit card statements and bank transfers showing my sole purchase of the furniture, television, and espresso machine. As these are my property, they will be remaining in the house. The towels were a housewarming gift from my aunt. You are welcome to the ones you brought into the relationship, which I believe are the yellow ones with the frayed edges. Concerning the security deposit from our old apartment on Maple Street, I've also attached the final inspection report and the letter from the landlord. As you'll recall, the deposit was forfeited to cover the significant pet damage to the hardwood floors caused by your cat, Buttons, which you failed to disclose to me at the time. Finally, you are both no longer welcome on this property. Any attempt to enter the premises will be considered trespassing. I wish you well. I spent about an hour gathering the documents, scanning them, attaching them as neat little PDFs. It felt good. It felt clean. The response was almost immediate, a flurry of emails from a new address since I'd blocked her first one. The tone had shifted from demanding to outright vitriolic. She called me petty, a monster, a thief. She said Patrick was twice the man I was and that they would be happy, no thanks to me. She ended with, Fine, keep the stupid stuff. We don't need it. But you owe me for the wedding. I want my parents' contribution back. All $20,000 of it. I stared at that line for a long time. The audacity. Her parents' money. The money they gave us for a wedding she blew up at the altar. This required a different approach. Not an email to her, but a letter to them. Update. The letter I sent to the Denisons was a masterclass in concerned sincerity. I expressed my deepest sorrow for how things ended. I acknowledged their pain and humiliation. I didn't lay blame, I just stated facts. I included a fully itemized budget of all wedding expenses. Every deposit, every payment. I showed where their generous $20,000 gift had been allocated. The non-refundable venue deposit, $10,000. The caterer, $8,000 paid in full. The florist, $2,500 paid in full. I explained that I had covered the remaining balance for the photographer, the band, and the cake myself. In the final paragraph, I wrote, Rachel has contacted me demanding I personally refund your contribution to her. While I sympathize with her distress, I'm sure you'll agree that the financial losses incurred were a direct result of her and Patrick's decisions on the day. All contracts were fulfilled by the vendors and myself. The services you paid for were rendered. It was Rachel who chose not to accept them. I sent it via certified mail. The confrontation I was expecting from them never came. Instead, it came from my own family. My mother called me last night, crying. Apparently, Patrick and Rachel had gone to them, not for forgiveness, but for support, financial support. They were living in a cheap motel and had been completely cut off by her parents, and Patrick had lost his job. He tried to claim it was because of the scandal, but I later found out the real reason. His financial issues had bled into his work life. He'd been fired for getting aggressive with human resources after they denied him a payroll advance for the third time in 2 months. It wasn't the scandal that did him in. It was the desperation he'd created for himself. Now they had the gall to ask my parents to help them, to give them money to start over. My dad, God bless him, told them to get out of his house. But my mom? She has a soft spot for Patrick. He's her baby. He's your brother, she wept over the phone. He's destitute. She says she's pregnant. I froze. Pregnant, of course. The ultimate trump card. Some of you in the comments guessed this would be their next move. The second chance she was screaming about at the wedding. It all clicked into place. Is she mom? I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. Or is that just what they're saying now that they're desperate? She says she is. They're your family, your own blood. This was the first moment I felt the ice around my heart crack. A flash of real hot anger. No, Mom, I said, my voice hard. He is your son. She is the woman he betrayed me with. They made a choice. They stood in front of 100 people and made that choice. Every consequence since has been a direct result of that single decision. Do not ask me to fix this. Do not ask me to pay for their life together. I'm done. I hung up. It was the first time in my life I'd ever hung up on my mother. For a moment, I felt a wave of guilt, but then it was replaced by something else. Resolution. The line had been drawn, not by me, but by them. I was just refusing to let them cross back over it. This morning I got a notification from Spotify. Rachel D has been removed from your family plan. A small, petty detail, but deeply satisfying. I changed the Netflix password too. The digital cords are being cut, one by one. They think a baby will be their salvation. A way to guilt-trip both families into funding their mess. They've miscalculated. They don't know I'm holding one last critical piece of information. I'm just waiting for them to play their hand. Update. It's been a year. I thought I'd post a final update for everyone who followed this saga. The story didn't end with a bang, but with a series of predictable, pathetic whimpers, followed by one final quiet click. The pregnancy gambit was, as suspected, a lie. But it wasn't exposed by a tearful confession. About a month after my last post, I received a phone call from a distraught Mrs. Dennis. She was weeping. Rachel had called her, hysterical, claiming she was pregnant, and that if her parents didn't help her, she and the baby would be on the street. Mrs. Dennis, despite everything, was wavering. A grandchild changes things, doesn't it? I let her speak, her words tumbling out in a rush of pain and confusion. And then I played my final card. Mrs. Dennis, I said, my voice gentle but firm. I am so sorry you are being manipulated like this. Before you make any decisions, you should ask Rachel a specific question. Ask her about her appointment with her physician, Dr. Alexander, on March 12th. Ask her why she was referred to the Holloway Fertility Clinic. When she and I were still together, she told me the referral was due to significant fertility challenges she was worried about. A surprise pregnancy now seems statistically improbable. There was a long, heavy silence on the other end of the line. A fertility clinic? She whispered. Yes, I confirmed. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you. I truly wish you and your family peace. That was the click. The sound of the last door slamming shut in their faces. I never heard from the Dennisons again, but I heard through a mutual acquaintance that the call between Rachel and her mother that followed was apocalyptic. The lie wasn't just a lie. It was a cruel, calculated attempt to prey on her mother's deepest desires for a grandchild. It was unforgivable. Mr. Dennis, a man of honor, considered it the final nail in the coffin. He told a friend, I have one daughter. She is a missionary in Africa. He'd simply erased Rachel from his life. Without family support, their great love story quickly curdled. Reality hit them, and it hit hard. Patrick tried to sue me for emotional distress and slander, claiming my revelation at the wedding had ruined his life. Ada for laughing when I got the notice. My lawyer had the case thrown out in the first hearing, and Patrick was saddled with his own legal fees, which I'm sure he couldn't pay. Rachel, I heard, took a job as a waitress at a chain restaurant by the highway. She tried a GoFundMe, but it was shut down after raising $75. I ran into them at the grocery store about 6 months ago. They looked diminished. You happy now? Patrick sneered. You ruined our lives. I looked at him, at this man who was once my brother, and felt nothing. No anger, no pity. Just a vast, empty space. My life is quiet, Patrick, I said calmly, and I'm very happy with the quiet. Excuse me. I pushed my cart past him. Rachel wouldn't even look at me. She just stared at the price of canned corn. I sold the house. I moved. I've started dating again. My new girlfriend, Catherine, knows the broad strokes. She calls it my origin story. I don't know about all that. I just know I survived. People like Rachel and Patrick don't have epiphanies. They just find new people to blame. In their story, they will always be the romantic heroes, and I will always be the villain. And I've learned to be okay with that. They can have their story. I have my life. And I've discovered that the best revenge isn't loud and fiery. It's quiet. It's methodical. It's letting people face the consequences they built for themselves, one bad decision at a time.